Hi, we're going to look at the 2018 Tables, Equations and Graphs paper, question 3b. If you read through this question, the way to approach it is to read through the information and write some notes about it before you start. Now, you should read the entire question. Unfortunately, on the exam paper, the questions are separated by different pages, which makes it really hard to read together as one whole. But what I've done is I've actually pasted them all onto one page and you can have a read of it. You should pause this video and read the whole thing. Notice what I have highlighted. Right, starting again. Okay, so I've highlighted that you've got 10 centimeters, which is your maximum height of the two circles. Okay, the radius has to be at least 1 centimeter, which in this case here means that the radius has to be greater than or equal to 1 for both red and blue circles. The other thing you notice here is that the pi needs to be 3. So when you do the whole thing here, you use pi as 3. Don't use the one on your calculator. As you read through these questions here, you notice that they talk about the area of the red circle and its radius. Part 2 is the red circle and its radius, and then it goes on to talk about totals. So let's start off at question 1. If you're talking about the red circle and its radius, what you need to think about is that you're going to take the red circle and you're going to take its center and you're going to make that the radius. Okay, if you make that the radius, then what we're going to do is define that first. So the first thing you should do is define it. So we'll let r equal the radius of the red circle. Don't define it as anything else because we don't need to. Okay, so we're just talking about the red one in this case. All right, so we're going to do the area of the red circle. So you're asked to use a table, equation, and a graph. So a table or graph to investigate the relationship between the area of the red circle and its radius. Here we go. So we're going to make a table. So we're going to put r as the radius of the red circle, and we're going to go area, and we're going to make it the red's area. So we're going to make a table. But we know that the smallest one it can be is 1. We might as well choose the values that we need to do. So we choose whole number values, which makes it really simple, and it can only be up to a maximum of 4, because once it reaches 4, the radius is the blue radius, because it's got to be at least 1, then it can go as high as 4. So these are the only 4 numbers that you've got. Okay, to work out the area for this one here, so it would be pi times the radius squared, which is the formula that's given to you up here. Okay, and that would be 3, because pi is 3 times 1 squared. 3 times 1 squared is 3, so you pop 3 in there. And you do the same for the rest of them. This would be pi times 2 squared, and that would be 3 times 4, which is going to be 12. So that would be 12, and that would be 27, and 4 squared is 16 times 3 is 48. Okay, so we get 48 in there, so that's your table. Okay, so you're asked to investigate the relationship between that and the radius, and that's your question part 1 done. Okay, part 2, what should we come out with a formula for that? Okay, so the area for the red one, let's just do it because we can, is 3 times r squared. Okay, and that's your formula for the area for the red one. Right, part 2, describe major features of the graph that represents the relationship between the area of the red circle and its radius. Here you're going to need to draw a graph, because here you're talking about features of the graph, and if you're going to talk about features of the graph, you have to draw a graph. So for part 2, you're going to draw a graph. The area equals 3r squared, and we'll do that in the next video.